Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take care of this room. What we're going to do is flash this with no lights on. That's just the way I prefer to do things. And we've got this room in the back here, and that's what makes this a little bit more difficult. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my lighting setup for this one. And I'm going to be at f-stop 7.1, and I'm going to have an ISO of 320. 320 makes my flashes work even better with less battery power. So if you're wondering why 320. So what we're going to do is light this room up, and then we're also going to put some flashes in this back room, and I'll show you how we're going to set that up. And if you're thinking, why is this video of me so dark? It's because it's dark in here, and it's better for me, instead of exposing to make it brighter, I'm kind of trying to show you what it really looks like. It's really this dark when I'm working in it. So let's get going. All right, so I'm going to be shooting from that corner there, all right? And I'll show you what it looks like from that view. So we've got this tall ceiling. As you can see, it's got some different aspects to it, a little bit of natural light up there. As we come down, the walls are gray, by the way. We've got one fireplace, nothing really exciting here, no furniture to contend with. Sometimes shooting a house with no furniture ends up being more of a pain than if it did. Over here in the back room, that's green, and overlooks the golf course, right there. I'm going to put a couple of flashes. Let me move away from the window so we can actually see something. A couple of flashes here. They're both at half power. And what I'm going to do is bounce that flash off the ceiling, which should bring it back this way, because I can only see out through these two windows, everything in that frame, these two windows and that opening. So that's what I'm going to do there. Now, as far as flash from where I'm standing, I'm using a pretty powerful flash pointed straight up. I'm also going to use my 8200, the one I hold in my hands, and I'm going to point that straight up as well. And I'll probably throw in one umbrella shot, meaning a shoot-through umbrella pointed right about in this angle right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, sorry for the weird view there, but there was a view I could set the camera up, video camera up out of my way, and you can still see me get the shots. So first thing I'm going to do is get my composition. Now, I could either bring this over here and start with that wall over there, but I think I'm going to go with this right side there, line up close to that. So I'm getting the bubble lined up in the middle on my geared head. Okay, I am as wide as I can possibly go at the moment. Some fine tuning there on the leveling. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is figure out what shutter speed I'm going to go with, which I'm going to stick somewhere in a high shutter speed. I'll let you know as we go. All right, everyone, it looks like I'm going to go with a shutter speed starting at an 80th of a second. So I'm going to point straight up, and here's our first one. And not so bad. I'm going to lower the flash a little bit just to see if I can come underneath that ceiling fan just a tad. Okay, not bad at all. Now that's at half power on the handheld and fourth power on the big one up there. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some directional lighting, just so I have other things to pick from when I'm editing. Point straight up to the ceiling. I'm kind of going for the far side of the room. Looks good. Now I'm going to point at this corner here. Make sure I got one of it all nice and bright. And just for fun, one straight up. Okay, so everything looks like it'll be pretty good. Let's get into Photoshop and see how we did. Okay, we have our photos loaded in Bridge, Adobe Bridge. So let's take a look at the shots. Here's the first shot. Not so bad. One thing I'm noticing is that back area didn't seem as bright as I need it to be. Here's the second shot. Third shot. White balance obviously took a hit. Third shot. Shadow getting a little bit better there. Fourth shot. Shadow is very pronounced up here. Darker over here to the right. Another shot. dark over here to the right, a little bright over here, not looking too bad. And there's the 6 shot and the last one. So what I'm going to do is go through and figure out which pictures I want to save. What I'm going to do is scroll through them again, and then I'm going to hit Command 8. This is on a Mac, and what that does is just marks things either green or not green, whether I want to keep them or not. It's just a way for me to keep track of it. So let's start with the first photo. Not a whole lot wrong with that. I'll keep that one. Now what I'm doing, I'm looking for a photo that may be a little bit brighter to the right, maybe a photo that's got less of a shadow up there by the ceiling fan, and definitely one that's a little brighter in that back room. So let's see, here's the second photo, nothing exciting there. Third photo, I'm going to keep that one. It seems a little brighter. Okay, nothing great there. Nothing exciting there. Nope. Let's see, a little brighter on the right. Whether that's brighter than the other one, I don't know, but I'll go ahead and mark that one. So we'll bring these 3 photos into Adobe Raw and start editing those. All right, we have the photos, all 3 of them loaded into Adobe Raw. First thing I'm going to do is go through them and fix the white balance, because if you look at our second one, it looks a lot different than the others. So let's just calibrate them. I'm going to go over here to the right, get the eyedropper tool, and click here where it's white. I could click here too, it doesn't matter. I think I'll click down here on the fireplace. Next one, fireplace, you'll see the adjustment take place, and the last one there. So they are all calibrated the same. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and highlight all 3 photos, go to my presets. I'm going to use my preset here, and that's a little bit of sharpening and getting out the chromatic aberration and the lens correction, all that. And you can find my presets, what I have them in my video called Actions and Presets. So now that I've done a little bit of editing to each one of these, just to get the white balance calibrated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this up in Photoshop now and bring in the best aspects of each picture to make one, and then we'll make our final adjustments. Okay, now that we're in Photoshop with our 3 photos, first thing I'm going to do is run my action called Sharp, which sharpens it all. And yes, and that's in that video I just referred to you to with the presets and actions. So I'm going to hit File, Automate, Batch. This is going to apply that sharpening to all the photos. That is done and out of the way. So what I'm going to do is start with our first photo. Command A to select the image, Command C to copy it. And then I'm going to click into the second picture and hit Command V and paste that first one on top of the second one. So if you look over here to the right, they're both layered on top of each other, create a mask. Now what I'm just going to do is use the eyeball here and teeter back and forth to what aspects I like better from one photo to the other. And I like that the second photo is brighter in some of those areas in the back room and a little bit more over there to the right. So what I'm going to do is take my brush tool and I'm going to paint with black to reveal. I'm going to use an opacity of about, I don't know, I'm making something up here, 30%, make it an even number. Then what I want to do is I want to bring in some of that brightness from that back room there. Brush that in just a little bit. And if you say, well, why didn't you just use 100? Well, I could have, but I want to control how much and where it's at. Now, there are some areas that I brightened up that I don't want to brighten up. So I changed the mask to white. I'm going to go down these white areas here and take off the brightening because that just made those too bright. Subtle change, you may not even notice. I notice it, drives me crazy. All right, so I'm going to teeter back and forth again to see what aspects I can use. Okay, so this is before, after, before, after, before, after. Okay, so I think I'm going to brighten up. We're going to reveal. 35% seems good. I'm going to reveal a little bit more of the picture underneath over here to the far side, which brightens it up just a tad. Not much. All right, so let's go ahead and right-click, flatten the image. I'm going to hit Command A, Command C, go to the next picture, hit Command V, to paste that image on top of the other one, make a mask. Now I'm going to teeter between these two. So not a whole lot I'm going to use from this other one other than to try to knock down some of those brighter areas. So what I'm going to do, now that I have a mask, is I'm going to paint with black again. I'm going to go with maybe 26%. Sounds like a really good number for whatever reason. I'm going to go up here to the ceiling fan. As you can see, I'm teetering back and forth. The ceiling fan looks a little bit better exposed on that second one. Darken that up just a tad. I'm going to go to these white sections like right here and just kind of darken that up a bit. And over here, just a little bit. Anywhere I think it might be a little blown out, I'm going to lower the opacity just a little bit so it's not so big of a change there. Maybe here where that white is. Get that all filled in there. All right, and let's take a look at the floor. Okay, so the floor is a little bit darker in that second one, and where the flash went off right beside me did lighten up the floor a little bit more, closest to where I was standing. I'm going to change the opacity to 40%, kind of tone that down a little bit so everything looks somewhat the same lighting all the way down, even though obviously it should have been brighter closer towards me because that's where the flash is coming from. Right click, I'm going to flatten the image. Now, hopefully you can see this over to the right, and this is all up to you whether you want to do an edit like this. There's some, looks like some touch-up paint over here on the wall. Some people might say, well, you don't want to edit that because that's the way the house is, and you would be correct. So in that case, you'd want to leave it just the way it is. But if a realtor did want that taken out, you can do that pretty easy by using this patch tool. And what you do is just circle around that, go to an area where it looks good, and let go of it. And now my dog's squeaking her squeak toy. So if you do hear some random squeaking, that's where that's coming from. All right, I'm going to hit Command D to get out of the patch tool there. Next, I'm going to open this up in Adobe to do our last adjustments. All right, I have the photo opened up in Adobe Raw again, so I'm going to straighten the photo out. All right, I'm going to go down here to the bottom where it says Geometry. I normally use either Auto or Vertical. Let's try Auto. See how that does. Not too bad. Take it off, go to Vertical. Nope. See the right-hand side, how it's not right? Take it off, go back to Auto. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to actually do something different. Over here to the far right is the guided. So I'm going to actually draw a line down where that wall is, and then go over here to the other side, draw down something straight. I'm going to let go. Should fix that problem. So there we go. We had to straighten that one. Auto didn't work. Vertical didn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is take the brush tool, and I'm going to brush with a little bit more exposure. Back of that far side, it's just a little bit too dark where the light is starting to fall off. So I'll brush in anything that I feel is a little dark. Crank it up now that I've made those adjustments. Not like that. We'll go with 30. All right. Get a new brush, get a new setting, come down here to the fireplace a little bit, brighten that up just a tad. That back room, we want to brighten it up just a little more. Got a little sloppy with that one. You get the eraser tool, take it off of this. I don't need it on the white parts. All right, so now let's finish up our white balance here. I'm going to hit Auto, see what happens. Okay, so it went -5. I would agree with that one. -1 on that. Let me take this down to 66% and see how the picture's looking. Still a little bit dark. I do like to make the picture smaller and look at it like this. It sometimes gives me a better idea of how it's going to look on the MLS because they're small photos anyway. Brighten that up just a little bit more. All right. I think we'll be splitting hairs if I do much more to this one. But, well, one more split hair then. On this far right hand side, it looks a little yellow to me. Excuse me, it looks a little blue. So I'm going to make it a little bit yellow just to make it look like the rest of the room. There. All right. So we're going to keep it just like this. And I hope this helped y'all out a little bit. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.